Well, how's it going? Just out here taking a quick walk, peek into this area, and I wanted to film a short intro into a trapping video. Some of you, I've had a lot of good response of people saying, hey, posted trapping videos. I wanted to touch just briefly on why I'm reluctant to do that and why I'm going to go ahead and do it. One, I've been reluctant because I make no claims at being a great trapper. I'm relatively new to trapping. I do know some great trappers that have been successfully trapping for years and years. And to go right into one of the reasons why I would post some videos, if I can post something that's of use, is when I did actually go to some of these guys that trap and are good trappers. Some of them are friends of mine, some of them I would say are close friends of mine. They didn't want to help. They didn't want to help another trapper. I don't know if they saw it as competition or what, but it's very secretive for some reason. It's hard-earned knowledge, and they didn't want to share it. They didn't want to have to compete with somebody else or whatever the reason is. But I would send texts and ask questions. The texts would go ignored, and I even had people come up and tell me they wouldn't help me. So for that reason, if I can help somebody that's interested in trapping, especially because here's reason number two, there's lots of great trapping information on YouTube. There's also lots of garbage, but there's lots of good trapping information on YouTube, but very little for Western trapping. Nothing involving trapping in an area like where I'm trapping. You know, the way they set traps, the way they choose locations and all these things, they're useless out here. You can't set a trap the same way out here because our soil conditions are different and anchoring is different. And you know, I don't have big cotton fields or bean fields or corn fields or something to go set up coyote sets. I just don't have that situation here. So it's a different situation, and so for that reason I've had to learn on my own, and I've had to learn specifically for my area. And so if I can share some things that are helpful to someone that's also wanting to start, then cool. I'm all for that. And then for the final reason, you know, why I would have some reluctance. Recently, I mentioned trapping to somebody that knows me very well and ought to know that I don't have a cruel or a mean bone in my body. But I mentioned trapping, and the person looked at me like they were looking at something disgusting and said, why would you want to torture little animals? Why would you want to catch them and let them lay there until they starve to death? I looked at him and I was like, that's not what trapping is. So let me touch on that just a little bit. One, we have trapping laws that say you have to check your traps every 48 hours so that nothing's going to starve to death in a trap. I check mine nearly always every day. Just for that reason, I don't want something sitting in a trap for several days. Number two, I've caught myself in traps and I've almost fallen down. Lots of times. It's surprising, but it doesn't hurt you. If you choose the right trap for the animal, there is little to no harm to the animal. So if you caught something, you know, I caught one of my dogs the other day, and she was completely unharmed, other than she didn't like it very much. But she was none the worse for the wear. And the same with the animal. If you catch something that, say you caught a baby bobcat or something, baby fox. Now typically you set your pan tension high enough that you don't catch those little non-target animals. But if it does happen, you can turn loose and they can go on and be just fine. That type of mentality that killing something is just cruel and mean, well, it doesn't take into account the fact that in the predator-prey situation, something's going to die. When we take a hand in it and we try to have some stewardship over these things, what we do is we say, well, we would rather choose to have more of the deer and fewer of the predators, rather than vice versa. And so trapping helps to regulate those. In other areas where they're trapping coon, beavers, stuff like that, I mean, some of those things do serious damage. They're a nuisance where they're at, and they've got to be controlled. So it serves a purpose. You can do it as humanely as anything. I mean, if you hunt, you understand the realities. Well, in the hunting situation, something probably is going to die. You do it as quickly and cleanly and painlessly and with as much respect as you can. Always. The older I get, the less I like to kill stuff, which is why you find me shed hunting or helping somebody else hunt rather than myself far more these days than actually hunting. I probably fill my deer tag once every 3 to 5 years, not because I couldn't kill more deer, simply because I like to hunt far more than I like to kill stuff. Because I do have respect for it. But the ultimate culmination is that sometimes in hunting and in trapping, things will die. Do it quickly, cleanly, and with respect, and there's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, just a quick, I guess that wasn't quick. I wanted to intro trapping videos with those few things so that you understood my point of view. Most of you have been favorable, and those few of you that haven't really been positive about the trapping stuff, well, at least there's the other perspective, and you can choose to not watch those ones. My channel will always be primarily shed hunting with everything outdoors that I run into. Anyway, I'm going to hurry up and find a shed here and then go home, and Lana and I are going to take the horses out. I hope. Alright, so I know I'm checking traps in here before that this tree you can see here, this hollow base. I know people say that coyotes won't come up to a tree or underneath a tree like this, but it's a big dead tree. And before the cows came in and messed it up and this rain came in, there was coyote tracks all around this tree. So I think it's a good place for a set. I think that they're naturally going to want to check in these little holes here. And there was tracks around the base of this last week when I looked at it. So I'm going to add a set here. First thing I want to do is kind of add, there's already sort of a natural dirt hole here, but I want to be able to put some bait into one. So can see the difficulty of this dirt here is it's so fine, the hole just caves back in on itself. But that'll work good. What I want is a hole that the only way for a critter to be able to look into that hole is for him to come right here and put its eyes down in there and look. That's why I want a little bit of an angle. He's got to come up here and look down. And when he's looking down, his nose is right here. Say his nose is right here, which puts his two front paws right in this area here. And so that's where I want to have my trap. So I'm going to put my trap right here, right-footed coyote. I like these wolf fang anchors. You'll like them a lot too, as long as you treat them like they're disposable. If you try to come back out and pull them up, you're going to hate them. I only tried that once, and after a whole day of trying to dig these things out, I decided that for $1 a piece, they were disposable. And I can always leave them here and reuse them next year. That's the whole 18-inch anchor down. They're always gonna pull back out an inch or two. That anchor goes in, and when you pull on it, and you're just not gonna pull that out. No coyote on this earth is gonna pull that out. I've put a 6-foot digging bar on them, trying to pull them out. You notice I don't know if you can see that, but I'm setting this pan on the open jaw side, so getting your fingers caught in there when you're setting them is not all that fun. Then I'm going to set the night latch right there. I really like these Bridger number 3 dogless. It's a really good trap. It's probably a little bit much for coyotes, or for foxes I mean, but perfect for coyotes, and it does a good job on foxes. Now the good thing about this soft dirt is it's easy to bed in. I want this trap to where if a coyote comes up and steps right here or right here or right here, see a little bit of wobble there? You don't want that. So why is trapping fun? Well, let me talk about that for a second. Coyote's got a home range of, it might be hundreds of square miles, and he can step anywhere he wants to. Within those hundreds of square miles, he can step anywhere he wants to. The game is, I got to get a critter with a paw that big to step right there out of all the places he can step. in this whole country out here. I got to get him to step right there. I've got to set up a scenario. Now, I can't make him step anywhere. So I got to look for a scenario where is his foot likely to be, and I got to put this in a situation where he's likely to be here anyway. You're not going to pull a coyote over. You know, he's likely to come up and check this tree. They do every time they come into this field. If you are looking at this field, the one thing that catches your eye that says, "Ooh, that's something I should go look at," is this tree. And critters can hide underneath here, so it'd be a natural place for them to look. So this is a place that a coyote's going to come anyway. I'm going to give him a nice scent right there that he's going to like. So I'm going to create a scenario where a coyote is hopefully going to come in here, and then I got to create a scenario where when he comes in here, his foot's going to be right there. And if I do my job, if I do it correctly, then I win. Most of the time, I don't win. Most of the time, the coyote wins. Vast majority of the time, the coyote wins. He's smarter than me. But I only need him to make a mistake one time. I'm just not liking that. So when it comes to managing predator numbers, can you really have an impact? Can you really do anything that's going to have any positive impact on the animals that you'd like to have more of? Now, I know that if you just took man out of the equation, that you would have a natural cycle of sometimes that happens. You'd have a natural cycle of high numbers of predators, high numbers of prey, and that would cycle naturally. But that isn't the ideal, you know. Huge numbers of prey animals being killed, and then huge numbers of prey animals starving to death while we wait for the prey animals to recover. We can manage that, and we can. Now, I don't by any means want to get rid of coyotes. That's the cool thing about a coyote, is we haven't been able to. We were able to eradicate the wolf, but we never were able to eradicate a coyote. Just too smart, too clever, too proficient, and but we can control their numbers. If you take something like a lion, as far as predator control, a lion on average is going to kill a deer every week when he can, when there's sufficient numbers and he's healthy and things are ideal. 1 deer a week. And that's 50 deer in a year taken out by one lion. One lion. Mom with some young to feed might kill more than that if she can. So you take out one lion, and if that lion was to live 5 years, killing 50 deer every year, 250 deer, they didn't get killed by that predator. Now, coyotes don't kill quite that many, but they do have a significant impact, especially on fawns. Foxes have an impact on fawns. Foxes have an impact on my chickens at home. We've lost chickens Neighbors have lost pets and chickens to foxes. So I don't want their foxes to go away, but I don't want there to be tons of them. I want to be able to have my chickens. So I don't want there to be anything here to scare a coyote. This right here is just sort of naturally the lowest spot here. And you know, you can do a few things subtly. You know, a little piece of cow turd there, he's just not going to put his foot on that. And that's going to be right over where, you know, the highest part of those jaws stick up. I don't want him to step right there. That way I don't have to bury this trap quite so much. So, you know, there's no way he comes up here and smells something that tastes good. There's no way for him to get to it just by, he just can't reach in there and get it. He's going to have to sit right here and work, and he's going to have to dig, and he's going to have to put his nose in there a couple of times. And if I get him to do that, eventually a foot's going to land right there, and it'll be the last mistake he ever makes. But that's a basic dirt hole set. This is a big backing, and this isn't the type of set that I do a lot, and I wouldn't do this set if I hadn't already seen multiple coyote tracks and fox tracks coming right up to this tree and smelling underneath this tree. If they've done it once, they'll do it probably every time they enter this field. And now I got a little treat for them waiting there. And that's a basic dirt hole set. Alright, so there's that one set. See what happens. Alright, so what I did is I got that skull there. It's actually wired to the fence, because what a coyote's going to want to do, he's just, when I put something on there that smells good, he's going to want to just pick it up and carry it over to a place where he's comfortable to look at it. So I'm going to make it where he can't do that. Just setting a little Victor 1.75 4 coil here. These are usually the traps I use when I'm worried about them getting stolen or something. Little V there for my dog. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to see all 10 of my fingers lined up in this trap. There we go. Alright. Like I said, there's good and bad about this soil out here. It's just, I mean, dry as a bone, but it just sort of sifts in. And see, I don't how that trap rocks right there. All I really got to do is tap on it a few times, and the dirt will sift underneath it and level itself out. Alright, so just with this, like I said, with this really light dirt, just it'll set that pan. Now that's rock solid, nothing moves when something steps on it. Nothing moves when you step on that jaw. again, I have that position so that if a coyote comes up here and he sticks, I'm going to put bait in that cavity right there. If his nose is right here, his front paw is offset and just a little bit behind it. So that's what I'm trying to get there, is if he comes up here and puts his nose there, his paw is already going to be there. Coyotes won't let you get away with blocking them in, so you got to sort of anticipate where their feet are going to be as best you can and set up accordingly. My pan, so I know where it's at. Alright, now I'll put some bait in there, and I'll put a long call lure up here a little bit higher, some bait in there and some urine probably here, just whatever I can do. These coyotes have been traveling this road, and just gives them just a curiosity thing. Coyotes that have been traveling this road are going to know that that's something that wasn't here before, and hopefully it'll attract their attention and won't scare them off. Let's see what happens. Well, that wasn't nice. Cows already messed that one up. Dang it. Alright, I'm out here checking traps. The nice cows set off the two that I thought were in the best spot, so I'm going to come off of them a little ways. I don't know if you can see here amongst the cow. We got canine tracks all over through here, so see if I can't find a spot where the cows won't set them off and I can still catch them critters when they're coming through. So I was thinking about possibly right there in front of that. Oh, look at that. That track right there. I think I might go right there. Or maybe get it further away from the cows and right over here. Alright. So this one's still got a chance of getting set off by the cows, but since I've got multiple canine tracks, they're coming down this draw right here and heading over to that tree where I've got a set waiting for them. I like to put my dirt hole in first. And the reason I like to put my dirt hole in first is because a lot of times you just simply can't get it in. Those rocks or roots or something, or you get your trap set and then you got to put your dirt hole in and you can't put it in or it slides off. And so I think the coyotes are going to come here and they'll stop and smell this, so I'm going to actually put my pan right here. This is the first spot in a couple months when I'm actually trapping where I can use anchors, because everything else has been so sandy that I have to use drags. I like drags for some spots because sometimes I like for the animal to be able to pull itself out of where it's at. But in a spot like this, I'd prefer for it to be waiting for me right here. Well, that don't happen very often. They never get that to pull off. All right, it's not going anywhere. Put that in there. Bridger, number 3 dogless. My second favorite. Trap, my favorite of the MB 550s. Now this sand, this soil right here is so dry and sandy. It actually helps set these pans. Gotta grab something. But because it's so dry and it will go right through a like screen or anything like that, so you have to have something that the dirt can't get through. So I'm just gonna expose my pan right there, minimize my chance of catching myself, repack it. See, nothing. Critter comes up here and steps, nothing's moving. Alright, that's all there is to it. I'll just put some bait down there and see what happens. And there it is, baited. I just have some Hiawatha Valley in the hole and some Cavan's lure, and then just a little bit of gusto on that branch, just gives a little bit of a skunky smell. But hopefully coyotes will come down here like they've done. There's 2 or 3 tracks here, different ages. come right down here, and if I can keep the cows out of it. Coyote over there harassing the geese. Well, it's just about dark after work, and I'm on the very last trap to check. And look at that. What is that? That's the funniest looking gray fox. Is it I've never seen a fox like that. I don't know if it's just because it's wet, because it's raining out here, or if it's blonde or what. That's kind of interesting. I knew I'd get one here. The male that I got in that set that's 20 yards from here, this one had come into it on a night when it was frozen up, so I reset it and put this extra one here, and so I knew I'd be having a fox here in the next little while. This one, I was just going to turn this one loose, but I don't know, that's a really cool looking one. If I had my selfie stick where I could set up the camera, I'd probably turn it loose just to do it on camera. Oh, let's see, how well are you caught? Pretty deep catch there. What are you? You're the funniest looking fox I've ever seen. To rain on us. I gotta take care of this. This is a cool fox. Ah, dang it. It's starting to rain hard. Funny thing is, it reeks of skunk. It just reeks. But I think it's a cool enough fox that I'm gonna take care of it. And out here, what I'm working on is tanning this fox hide. I just finished tanning that coyote. Just needs to be brushed out, but it's all tanned and ready to be a wall hanger in my reloading room. Do the same thing with this fox here. And I'm working on a knife.